Nobody is coming to build it for you. Not the mentor, not the investor, not the perfect plan, not the version of your family that finally understands, not the motivation you keep hoping will arrive clean, loud, and undeniable. The life you keep seeing in your head is not assigned to them. It is assigned to you. And the hardest part is not that nobody is coming. The hardest part is that part of you is relieved when they do not. Because if nobody arrives, you still have an excuse to wait. You call it preparation. You say you are researching. You say you are still figuring out the offer. You say you need better timing, better money, better confidence, better energy, better support. Some of that may be true. But beneath all of it, there is another truth. Waiting protects the person you already know how to be. It protects the routine that does not demand much from you. It protects the evenings that disappear. It protects the tabs you leave open but never turn into work. It protects the notes app full of businesses that never have to face the market. It protects the identity that can still say, I would be dangerous if life gave me the right conditions. That sentence feels powerful, but it is a cage, because the right conditions are not coming first. You become the right condition through repeated proof. 1 hour kept, one task finished, one uncomfortable move made without applause. That is how the builder begins to separate from the dreamer, not in public, not in a grand announcement, not when everyone believes. In the quiet room, when you could waste the night and nobody would know. The furnace does not care how long the steel explains itself. It does not ask whether the steel had a hard week. It does not lower the heat because the steel is uncertain. It does not reshape the metal because the metal has potential. The furnace changes what stays. That is the lesson. You do not become different because you imagine a higher life. You become different when your current shape can no longer survive your current standard. Most people want the crown. Very few want the heat. They want the freedom, the money, the taste, the calm, the control, the beautiful mornings, the work that feels like theirs. But they do not want the private cost. The cost is simple. You keep the promise after the feeling leaves. You build the page when it is ugly. You record the draft when your voice sounds flat. You send the message before you feel established. You publish the piece before the identity feels safe. You study the skill when the world is loud and your mind wants a softer exit. That is heat. And heat exposes. It shows you which parts of your ambition are real and which parts only exist when the mood is favorable. This is why nobody can build it for you. Someone can teach you. Someone can open a door. Someone can hand you a cleaner system. But nobody can stand inside your private hour for you. Nobody can make you stop negotiating with the task. Nobody can make you close the loop before sleep. Nobody can turn your hidden intention into visible proof. That is your anvil. The anvil is not punishment. It is where the vague version of you becomes useful. Every unfinished promise leaves a mark. Every finished promise leaves one too. One mark bends you toward distrust. The other bends you towards self-respect. And self-respect is not a quote. It is evidence. You are not trying to become loud. You are trying to become solid. Solid enough to move without permission. Solid enough to build when nobody claps. Solid enough to look at the next 24 hours and stop treating them like they are disposable. Because they are not disposable. They are the material. Your future is not built from someday. It is built from the hours you stop throwing away. So here is the turn. Do not try to fix your whole life tonight. That is another way to avoid the task. Pick one thing that would make tomorrow easier and finish it before sleep. Not start it. Not outline it. Not emotionally circle it. Finish it. Use 4 rules. First, make it small enough to complete. If the task is build the business, it is too big. If the task is write the first offer paragraph, that can be done. If the task is become consistent, it is too big. If the task is schedule tomorrow's first work block and set the file open on your desk, that can be done. Second, make it visible. A task that lives only in your head can be escaped. Write it down. Name the file. Open the draft. Put the notebook on the desk. Make the promise impossible to confuse. Third, remove one piece of friction. Do not wait for a perfect system. Remove one blockage. Charge the camera. Clear the desk. Write the first line. Make the list of 10 prospects. Create the blank page. Put the tool where your hand can reach it. You are not designing an empire tonight. You are clearing the path for tomorrow's strike. Fourth, leave proof. When the task is finished, there should be evidence. A saved draft, a sent message, a recorded file, a finished outline, a calendar block, a page that did not exist before. Private proof matters, because the old identity survives in places where there is no evidence. It survives by saying, I am still becoming that person. The Forge answers, show me. Show yourself. Tonight. Before sleep. One task. One closed loop. One small piece of evidence that the dream life is no longer only a dream. This is where the few separate. Not because they are chosen by the world. Because they choose when the world is silent. They stop waiting for a witness. They stop waiting for permission. They stop waiting for the emotional weather to clear. They enter the furnace with one honest task in their hands, and they stay long enough for the old shape to lose. Nobody is coming to build it for you. That is not abandonment. That is ownership. The fire is not punishment. It is preparation. So tonight, make the vow simple. I will not ask my future to trust a version of me that keeps breaking private promises. I will choose one task. I will finish it before sleep. I will leave proof. And tomorrow, I will wake up with one less excuse protecting the old identity. If you are one of the few, comment the one task you will finish in the next 24 hours. Not your dream. Not your plan. Not your whole life. The task. Then close the screen and go build the proof.